But over the next month, starting this Sunday, the truth's going to come out on J.J. McCarthy. No more hand-holding. Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, Seattle can all score points. There's going to be some shootouts, and they're going to need 30 points a game, 28, 30 points a game to win games. So far this year, J.J. McCarthy, I mean, if you kind of almost look at the career thing, it's 2 good quarters of 12, okay? If you take the 2 good quarters out, he has a 37 passer rating and is completing 53% of his throws. 2 good quarters of 12. This year, that's not great. He was the one quarterback in the 2024 class I didn't buy. It was nothing personal, but I have to see in college a wow trait. It's why I like Kyler Murray. I'm like, I've never seen a guy move like that. Size, arm, athletic ability. I got to get a wow trait. You can't tell me, well, he's a winner. What does that mean? That's like if I'm trying to hire your son or daughter and I ask you as a parent about them and you're like, well, they're a good kid. Well, you're their parents. I would hope they're a good kid. You got to give me a resume. Where'd they go to school? What is their skill set? What have they done? I got 12 quarters, 2 good ones. You know, and here's the thing. If you go to his quarterback class in college, I looked it up. Penix, Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix, Drake May. Averaged over 300 yards a game. They carried their teammates. J.J. McCarthy averaged 199 yards. He was carried by Michigan. So his college career did not set him up for the NFL reality, which is you don't have the best O-line, the best coach, the best run game, the best defense, and the best field position. So, and people say, well, Colin, he'll make 1 or 2 spectacular throws a game. That's like being a comedian. 1 or 2 jokes that land does not make a great set. Right? You got to be funny for 25 minutes. You got to do a Bill Burr. Like you got to stand on stage for 45 minutes and 90% of it is really, really funny. Then you're a franchise comedian. It can't be a couple of good jokes. So I don't see the wow. In 25 games, he's played 3. I don't know what to make of it. This morning, the staff, I said, give me the total quarters, 12. How many are good? 2. That's not a good hit rate. I don't know what to do with it. So he plays the Ravens. I look at the schedule, Baltimore, Chicago, Green Bay, Seattle. There's some offenses there. Lamar, Caleb, Jordan Love, Sam Darnold. You got to put some points up. Here's Kevin O'Connell. 2 of 12 is not even a good batting average. Here's Kevin O'Connell.
I've always thought JJ is a very, very high-level processor of information. I think the way I would equate it to, it would be like, if you're a high-level chef making a meal, we try to put the ingredients out on the counter and then leave the instructions right next to the ingredients and then potentially, have up until 15 seconds to help guide the crafting of that meal. That's how we try to do it, so it's not just show up to the stadium and figure it out all on your own.
I like the ingredients. I got no problem with the ingredients. It's the chef. I don't know if can bring it home. Like I said, left tackle, star receivers, head coach. I love the ingredients. Defensive coordinator Brian Flores. I'd hire him in a heartbeat. I love all the ingredients, but you got to make that land on my plate. I don't see it.
Okay, H, that was a take for sure. This is the way how I look at it right now. This is where my mind goes with J.J. McCarthy, the Minnesota Vikings, and playing against the Ravens. First, let me just get this out of the way where it's like I've given J.J. McCarthy the full spa, all the space in the world to struggle and not be perfect this season. Colin's like, I've seen 12 quarters and, only 2 of them are great. And it's like, this is his first handful of games. Okay? Like, how amazing do you think Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb, all these quarterbacks struggle in their first handful of games? He is a rookie quarterback. We got to stop with this idea of it's year 2. He is a rookie quarterback. That is what he is. Treat it as if he is a rookie quarterback. And so it's like, yeah, okay. Bo Nix looked awful in the beginning. And listen, Colin was a huge proponent of Bo Nix. And now he's starting to cool down on him. So like, okay, maybe that's the way it goes. But it's just, we have to, like, it's being, think about it like this. And then I'm going to use the example how I really feel about this game. We talk about how being an NFL quarterback is the hardest thing in all of sports. That is the hardest thing, is to be a quarterback in the NFL. It's why they get paid an insane amount of money. And we think that these guys in their first handful of starts can just walk onto a football field and just step in. No matter how great the roster is, they could just step up and just say, I'm here. I've arrived, baby. Let's go. And never look back. Like, it's just that straightforward. And how about this? Brock Purdy, who stepped out onto the football field and was able to be successful right away, and yet now people are kind of like, I don't know how good he is. Colin doesn't think he's a great quarterback, and yet he was able to step out and immediately ball. Does that maybe tell you that just because you start off real strong, that doesn't automatically mean that you're going to be a great quarterback? And yet the NFL is also littered with quarterbacks who have not started off real strong for an entire season and ended up being elite and great and special. Does it mean that maybe using such a narrow, short, immediate sample size doesn't tell you everything? And again, it doesn't matter how you feel about Brock Purdy. I know Colin doesn't think that Brock Purdy is this great, awesome $200+ million quarterback. But with that said, he obviously had success early on, was able to get to a Super Bowl, NFC Championship game. If you don't think he's that good of a quarterback, it still goes to show you, though, how successful a quarterback of Brock Purdy's skill set is and how far you can get, the success you can have. And you're saying that J.J. McCarthy is not even worth that. He's not even capable of that. I mean, then he would be like a true bona fide bust, right? And for me, going into this game against the Baltimore Ravens, because this is exactly what I said going up against the Detroit Lions. And this is how I feel, because I'm not expecting J.J. McCarthy to just take over the world. I think that's just unfair right now. But when we look at the schedule, you know, you're going up against the Ravens, the Bears, the Packers, the Seahawks. But if we just look at this game right now against the Baltimore Ravens, you're going up against Lamar Jackson. Okay, Lamar Jackson. The Lamar Jackson, right? You play great. You outduel him. It reminds me of HBO's Silicon Valley, the show. If you haven't seen the show, in a nutshell, to make it really simple, you know, they create this formula, this algorithm, this program that allows you to compress files, huge files that are like, you know, 5 gigs, and they can compress it to like a megabyte, right? Which is incredibly valuable. And pretty much when they went to this like competition, this tech competition thing, the guy is pretty much like, hey, you know, we can do this. And it was like such an insane claim that the guy who's like pretty much like hosting the competition and you know, it's like live streamed and whatnot. He's like, listen, if what you're saying is true, it's like, well, then we're done here, right? Then we're done here, right? Like what if what you're saying is true and does what you're saying it does, like you've essentially just changed the world, right? Like it's like we're done, right? Like there's nothing else to talk about. The competition is over. Everything is over. You sitting here right now, you essentially invented Google. You essentially invented the internet, and you're just like, hey, look at this competition that I'm at, right? It's like, it's over, it's done. It's just, there's nothing else to talk about. Get out of here and go cheat and go change the world now. Like, you're like, be gone, you know? Like, what are we talking about here? It's over, it's done. And that's the thing with J.J. McCarthy, where it's like, if he's able to rise to the occasion and step up and succeed and win, it's like, what else? What are we talking about here? It's like, it's over. It's done. Stop constantly trying to squeeze this quarterback. But now, to be fair, I don't think you need to either, you know, in order to win that competition, so to speak, to keep with the Silicon Valley example, you don't need to have life-changing technology, you know, world-changing technology to be able to, you know, to be great, to succeed, and you don't need to show it within the first 5 minutes, you know, of your career here. So that's why I see these games as very much win-win, which is what I said, you know, with the Detroit Lions, where it's like, You know, if you succeed here and play well and come away with wins or just compete in your first handful of games, it's like that is insanely impressive to me. Insanely impressive to me. And if you struggle, it's like, yeah, you're going up against the Ravens, you know. The Bears is a little bit harder of an argument, but the Packers know the Seahawks are an elite team, you know, with an elite defense. Like it makes sense. You know, if anything, the Bears, that game is the game that will be harder to accept if JJ and the Vikings struggle. But the Packers, you know, they got a great defense and Jordan, and again, I know they've been a little inconsistent, but they're still a great team. The Seahawks have been a great team. The Baltimore Ravens are the Baltimore Ravens. But this is where it's also interesting. Since the Baltimore Ravens have been struggling, they're not even in the playoffs right now. Obviously, they've had their injuries and whatnot, and now, so it's like a little bit harder to really gauge who the Ravens are. But it's actually pretty interesting because if the Vikings win and beat the Ravens, like let's just say JJ McCarthy balls out. Let's just say he has a career day. He throws for 350 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just dominates the Ravens. It will not be about the Baltimore Ravens. It will not be about the Minnesota Vikings. It will not be about JJ McCarthy. It will be about this Baltimore Ravens team is a mess. They're awful. Harbaugh is going to get fired. It'll be, you know, like it's actually like a pretty interesting, honestly. So yeah, I just right now, if I'm a Minnesota Vikings fan, if I'm a JJ McCarthy fan, I am really checking out of any narrative around the Vikings and JJ McCarthy. This team has been banged up. You know, he's talked about he loves the ingredients. The ingredients have not been perfect. The O-line had been really concerning and a problem. Still kind of continues to be that way. There were injury issues. You had JJ McCarthy in the lineup, out of the lineup, back in the lineup. That's tough for any experienced quarterback, let alone a quarterback who's just starting off his career right now. You know, he's stepping into games without even being able to practice and prepare in ways that you normally would. He has to go up against the Detroit Lions, now the Baltimore Ravens, and Lamar Jackson, right? Like it has not been an easy, straightforward path here. And playing with tremendous pressure. And so I just, you know, whether he succeeds or fails, it just doesn't matter to me as strongly this season right now. I see this very much as just a learning process. I really do. And just making sure that he kind of gets better and improves. And maybe I have that view because I anticipate him struggling. I anticipate him not looking great. And it's why when he had his game, you know, against the Lions, I wasn't like, he has arrived, look what he did. It was like, no, it was some good, it was some bad. He made some beautiful throws and some got in and some got to have it moments, and that was amazing. And then he also, you know, had some rough moments, as Tom Brady pointed out. You know, and it's just like, yeah, I expect that. But here's the LA. Here's what I'll leave here, because Colin says, oh, you can't just make a couple good plays. But that's what he's been saying about Patrick Mahomes. This is what he said all last year. Quarterbacks, you can't rely on your quarterback to make big plays, you know, game after game after game, drive after drive after drive. That you know, you need to just rely on the Kansas City Chiefs. Just ask Patrick Mahomes to beat Patrick Mahomes like 1 or 2 times a game. That's what he said. Well, then if that's what JJ McCarthy is playing right now, well then what do you know? You really are only ideally asking your quarterback to be special, to make a got to have it throw really difficult off script, whatever it may be, like once or twice a game. If you're asking your quarterback to do it like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times a game, you're in trouble. Then you're absolutely positively in trouble. And so JJ's already proving to be able to do that, which is awesome, which is arguably the really hard part. Now he just needs to elevate his floor. Now he just needs to round it out and just be, you know, more stable. Just elevate his floor and just have a higher baseline. He does that. What's the problem? What's the problem here? Because you say that Brock Purdy, for instance, lacks that ability to be able to, you know, in the got to have it moments, get the job done. We saw that kind of rear its head in the Super Bowl, and we elevate Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Shelton, etc., to be able to do that. And so, and listen, there's some backup quarterbacks that can have those moments, and they got to have it moments. But then their floor is just so low that you're just like, oh my God, I don't know what the heck I'm getting with this quarterback. So At least JJ is showing one piece of the quarterback puzzle. And now he's just in the process of establishing the other aspect of it, which can take time. And that's okay, but those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about the Minnesota Vikings and JJ McCarthy? Should the Vikings be confident with JJ at quarterback? And how do you feel this next month? Do you feel that it is all going to come down to this next month? These next 4 weeks in terms of, is JJ him or is he not? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment, so you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. Please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be a part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much.